Warm greetings to all my friends who have just joined Jamia Ahmedabad University. I congratulate you on making the right choice. It is an institution of eminence, and I hope that as you will study during these 2 years, in coming 2 years, you will become a much better person and you will contribute to the world. I am here to give you some ideas as to what I feel as to how to manage in a VUCA world, or probably what corporates, when you join the organizations, expect from you in this VUCA world. VUCA, in a way, means volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. What do I mean by that? VUCA actually is a term which has been created, which has been often used in last few years because the world has become volatile. Volatile means our stock markets have a lot of ups and downs. Our economy has upswings and downswings. Recently, our economy, they say, has contracted by minus 23%. So as you listen to me for the next 10 minutes or so, you should try to understand as to what you should do to manage better in this volatile world. Of course, I use the term uncertain. What does uncertain means? That whatever you do, it may not generate results as per your expectations. So then what you should do? Similarly, complex. The world is very complex. Technology is changing on a daily basis. Your curriculums, probably in India, we are the only country where we keep teaching students the same thing years and years altogether. But let me tell you, the world is very, very complex. You need to understand the world faster. It is a complex world in terms of technology, in terms of governance processes, in terms of policies, in terms of diplomatic efforts by governments. We could never understand what China is. We could never understand what our neighbors are. So as a nation, we find ourselves in a very complex neighborhood with China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, all of them around us, and all of them have their own problems. But we also have very difficult world in terms of business activities. So complexity is the order of the day. And finally, ambiguous. Ambiguous means that what you see is not what it is. So how do you do? How do you develop tolerance for ambiguity? Let me tell you, my friends, it is one of the most important ideas which can help you grow further. Let me share my presentation with you for next 10 minutes or so. So I have kept the topic of my presentation as expectations from managers in the VUCA world. Now, what do I mean by that? VUCA world. VUCA world actually means a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. Means why the world is in VUCA mode? The world has gone into a VUCA mode for a lot of reasons. Number one reason is rising growth in technology. The technology in last 20 years or so has grown much faster. From 2G to 3G to 4G to 5G in telecom itself, telecommunication itself, we've seen a huge jump in data speeds, in huge jump. Remember, once upon a time, we used to pay for calling each other. Now we pay for data. We pay for data and calling is free. Not just that, there is robotic process automation. There is artificial intelligence. There is Android phone. The computers are with graphic user interfaces. And this rapid technological growth has brought with it changes in governance processes, changes in the way companies function, changes in the way they look at the corporations look at their consumers, changing. It has changed the way government looks at its citizens. It has changed the way students look at teachers, and it has changed the way how parents look at their children and the children look at their parents. Remember, there's another big idea. There's a lot of connectivity. What does this mean? This means that whatever happens in one country immediately passes to other countries. We've got a foreign exchange market which is connected through internet all across the world. We've got stock markets. So the US stock market falls and we come to know, and the Indian stock market falls, and the Singapore stock market falls, and the Japanese stock market falls. And all this has happened because we've got better connectivity. So it has brought with us volatility. So whatever will happen there will happen here. Rising global tensions and reduction in credibility of multilateral institutions. What do I mean by that? Now, once upon a time, we had a world where United Nations was a forum where you could go and put your problems. You could easily tell, on a forum of United Nations that these are the issues I have with my neighbor. Probably for last few years, UN is going down in terms of credibility, especially in last 5 years with US following a nationalistic path and several other countries also following nationalistic paths. The relevance of United Nations is falling. We are seeing a lot of trouble around the world with China as a growing power, with Russia almost always trying to flex muscle. United Nations is under serious threat. Same is with WHO. If you look at the recent times during COVID crisis, we found people blaming WHO for playing in China's hands. And now we are at a situation that the world is facing a huge crisis with no multilateral institution. This is making things very complex. Another problem is rising aspirations of humans. Who is giving rise to greenhouse gases? We humans. Who is giving rise to greed? In India, 1% of Indians own almost 90% of, above 90% of wealth, around 95% of wealth. Who is fueling this greed? Humans. Why are we not willing to share? Why are we not willing to care? All these pulls and pressures have made this world a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Now, as a person, what should you do? What should be your strategy for VUCA world? I'll tell you 4 points. Number 1, practice sustainability and inclusivity. Number 2, read a lot and be aware of trends in technology. Number 3, develop leadership skills within you and be positive. Let me tell you what do I mean by all this. Sustainability, as a matter of fact, is something which is bearable, equitable, and viable. If you look at environment, if something is bearable and something is viable economically as well as environmentally, if something is bearable socially and environmentally, if something is equitable economically and socially, that becomes sustainable. What are the examples? Solar power is a sustainable solution. It's called sustainable. Managing the bottom of the pyramid and engaging with people at the bottom of the pyramid is a sustainable practice. What do I mean by bottom of the pyramid? Poor people. Don't look at them as poor people dependent on the state or you. Engage with them as customers. Engage with them as partners in progress, and that will become a bearable idea. Equitable idea, not bearable, equitable idea. Similarly, whatever is viable, whatever is equitable, and whatever is bearable, together they'll make a sustainable world. If I look at the definition of sustainability, it talks about 3 basic points. One is called symbiosis. Symbiosis actually means that how organisms who live on this planet work together for the benefit of the ecosystem. This means to get what you want, you need to give others what they want. Every other animal except human beings in this world follows the practice of symbiosis. Remember, nature is a collection of ecosystems, and ecosystems deal with each other. In order to get what you want, you need to give others what they want. When you look at sustainability idea, it basically talks about nature which rebuilds whenever it depletes, but it should not waste. Remember what is important for you. Find out how the products you use are made. It is not where products are made, whether they are made in China, whether they are made in Thailand, or whether they are made in US. But remember, how they are made is more important. Third part of being sustainable and looking at sustainability is adaptation. Being sustainable means being adaptable. In 1955, they published a report called the Fortune 500 report. 429 companies out of those 500 companies today are extinct. They could not adapt. So they were not sustainable. So to be sustainable, remember, you should talk about rebuild. Whatever depletes, you must be able to rebuild, but do not waste. So use less of plastic. It adds to waste. You cannot do anything with plastic. Use, whenever you have electronic equipments, you dispose them off in a manner that you can rebuild something out of it. We talk about automobiles. Whenever automobiles are to be, when they complete their lives, when the lives of an automobile is over, do not have a practice so that something else can be made out of it. Similarly, when I said symbiosis, please remember, learn to find out what others need so that you get what you want and they get what they want. So once again, I'll repeat, to become sustainable, you must ensure that whatever you want is based on what others want. Give them what they want so that you will get what you want. Ensure that products are made in a manner so that they are recyclable, and ensure that whatever you do is about adaptability. Try to adapt to environment, try to run organizations which are adaptable to environment and society and economy, and remember that if you do not learn how to survive in this world, you do not follow the old age adage, survival of the fittest. This is the Darwin's hypothesis. So if you look at all these principles, you talk about sustainability as a principle. So we say that there's environment, there's society, and their economy. Ultimately, we need to ensure that the environment also is maintained along with society and economy. Mahatma Gandhi once said, the world has enough for every man's need, but not enough for one man's greed. Whatever Mahatma Gandhi said at that time is true today. As I said, in order to get what you want, you must give others what they want. Greedy people take from others. They don't give others what they want. They exploit. Learn not to exploit. One of the major strategies to ensure that the world does not become more volatile, more uncertain, more complex, more ambiguous. Ensure you don't exploit. And that is one of the clues behind, or one of the measures behind sustainability. Another idea is inclusivity. Do not exclude anyone from the systems based on gender, based on religion, based on caste, whatever, based on economic ideas. Mahatma Gandhi said, recall the face of the poorest and the weakest man, and you have seen, and ask yourself whether this step you are taking is going to be of any use to them. If the step you are taking is not of the use to the poorest and the weakest man, then please don't take that step. Please include anyone. Once you start working with the corporate sector, try to practice the philosophy of inclusivity along with the practice of sustainability. Do not exclude, learn to include. And that's what inclusivity is all about. Another thing is read a lot and be aware of the trends in technology. Read about the business history of India. Read about the political history of India. Read what Jinnah said. Read what Sir Syed Ahmed Khan said. Read what Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya said. Read what Gandhi said. Read what Nehru said. Try to understand what Lohia said. Try to understand what Jayaprakash Narayan said. Try to understand what Mrs. Gandhi said. And try to understand what the leaders of the present day say. Learn. Be it Prime Minister Modi, be it the President Ramnath Kovind, be it the past President Pranab Mukherjee, be it the past Prime Minister Shri Manmohan Singh, anyone, try reading about them, both business history as well as political history. In business history, try to read about J.R.D. Tata, try to read about Ratan Tata, try to read about G.D. Birla, try to read about Kumar Mangalam Birla and his father, Aditya Vikram Birla, try to read about Rahul Bajaj, try to read about Dhirubhai Ambani, Mukesh Ambani, try to read about whatever you can get on business history and see what were the challenges in front of these business people when they lived and how they overcame the difficult times. Things were never easy. Pre-independence, when it was J.R.D. Tata or Sir Jamshedji Tata or G.D. Birla, times were not easy for them. They managed the British Raj and they still managed to run organizations. Another thing, be aware of the trends in technology. Whether it is, technology is related to coding, whether it is technologies related to telecommunications, whether it is technologies related to Industry 4.0, please be aware. But that does not mean that you follow every trend. Learn to capture data and decide what is best for you. Capture data, analyze data, and decide what is best for you. Another thing will be you develop leadership skills. Each one of you, when you pass out of your courses after 2 years, must be a leader. Who is a leader? A leader is someone who has courage, who has conviction, who has character, and who has competence. Along with this, he has communication skills with emotional intelligence. Courage means taking initiative. Courage means saying what you wish to say without hurting others. Courage means also listening to others. Courage does not mean just shouting at others. Courage also means that when someone says something to you, you sit down and listen. Conviction means that you believe in yourself, you believe in your training, you believe in your ideas, and those ideas are well thought of. Character. If you promise something to someone, ensure that you deliver it. Do not get into a point where you do not promise, you do not renege. Do not renege on your promises. That's what I mean to say. Try building your character on a daily basis. Competence. You're going to learn business. What is business? Business is identifying somebody's need. Business is identifying how people live. Business is identifying what people want and delivering them. Learn something in next 2 years. Build your competence. Build coding skills. Build communication skills. Build statistical knowledge. Build accounting skills. Build human skills. And that's what the last point is. With communication skills, practice also emotional intelligence. And all of this together will make you a leader. Final point, be positive. What does it mean by being positive? Being positive means that you stay cool and calm. Being positive does not mean that everything around you would be okay. Being positive would mean that no matter what happens around you, you will be okay. So stay calm, play team sports, exercise regularly, eat nutritious food. Remember, for staying positive, your body needs to be in good health. And a healthy mind lives only in a healthy body. So what is the strategy for Yuka World I recommend for you? Learn about volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Before this, let me share you. You want to manage volatility? Develop vision. You need to manage uncertainty, develop understanding. You need to manage complexity, develop clarity of thought inside you. You need to manage ambiguity, be agile. Be agile with your thoughts, be agile with your thought processes, be agile with action. I'll give you some basic idea as to how do you do it. So I said, to manage volatility, have a vision. Identify where to invest, not to invest, with whom to deal, what not to deal, what to do in coming few years. Have a vision for the future. If you talk about uncertainty, learn everything about the asset. For example, you want to talk about investments. So learn about the asset classes, have an understanding about things. You will be able to manage under uncertainty better. Say complexity. When you talk about complexity, remember, try looking at things a little more clearly. That means breaking them into parts. And ambiguity means that everything is mixed with each other. So let me explain to you what I'm saying. In order to manage volatility, you need to be adaptive and innovative. What I mean by that is that volatility actually means ups and downs. Remember, you can't really change the exogenous factors in your life. But by being adaptive, when you are on a roller coaster ride, keeping your belt on and ensuring that when the good times are there, you manage better. And when the bad times come, you are not really unhappy. Just be a little adaptive and be a little innovative. Whenever in trouble, try identifying new tools, learning new tools, and you'll be able to manage it better. inside an organization, communicate clearly and ensure your intent is understood. If you communicate clearly, it would mean that do not mess around with words. Be brief, be precise. Managing uncertainty. You manage uncertainty by practicing risk management. Risk management means what? Whatever new perspective you have, try looking at all the pros and cons of it and then working around as to how to manage that fresh idea. Any new thing you plan, look at every pros and cons. What will go wrong if you take this step? How to manage? So you play like a chess game. So if this happens, these three things will happen. So if these three things will happen, I'll identify which is most likely to happen and then work according to it. What is least likely to happen, I'll work according to it. So I'll make a game plan of risk management. Probably when I'll meet you in full, I'll be able to explain risk management in a bigger term, but it's not very difficult. It simply means analyzing all the possible alternatives and taking decisions according to it. You manage complexity by understanding cause and effect. And of course, what it means is like, this is a typographical error from my PS. But remember, understanding cause and effect would means whatever is your asset or whatever your liability, understand what causes what. What is an asset? What is a liability? The asset word is missing from here. Practice collaboration. So practice means when you work in a team, that's why I emphasized on playing team sports, not individual sports. Team sports help you learn collaboration. And do not look at permanent solutions all the time. Permanent solutions, there are no permanent solutions for anything. So identify cause and effect, understand the assets and liabilities, practice collaboration, and stop seeing any permanent solution is how you manage complexity. Remember, there is no certainty anywhere. In any case, when you manage uncertainty, you manage risk. And when you manage complexity, you break things into small parts. What causes what? What is an asset for me? What is a liability for me? How do I collaborate with each other to manage my problems in life? And yes, if I find a solution, it may not be the best solution for a long time, but a short-term solution is there. And of course, managing ambiguity. Managing ambiguity would mean that you will have multiple perspectives and you will have alternative viewpoints. These are again the typographical errors. Endorse multiple perspectives and alternative viewpoints. When you look at multiple perspectives and you look at multiple alternative viewpoints, you are in a position to manage your life better. Do not look at just one perspective. You look at many perspectives. Listen to others, think differently, and you identify as to how you can manage with people. In case, if you look at the practice, in this world, people love to work with each other. People love to listen to their own voices. What I'm saying is, endorse multiple perspectives. Please correct it. It is a mistake from my typist. Multiple perspectives and have alternative views. Your views are not final. Listen to each other. Listen to people around you. Think differently and set up an incremental approach. I'll do this today and I'll do this tomorrow. Do not say I'll do everything today. So thank you very much. I hope once you have listened to me, you have some ideas in your mind. Remember, these are just some points. I thank internet for some of the points. I thank books and my seniors and teachers from whom I've learned over a period of time. And of course, industry leaders whom I often meet. So thank you very much. Wish you all the best for the next 2 years.